seriously popular.
Welcome to the Life of Bryony bonus episode. Every Friday, I make it all about you, darling listener. Joining me again is Matt Haig, and together we'll be untangling some of your trials and tribulations. I always have so much fun catching up with Matt, so if you missed Monday's chat, I implore you to have a listen. An excellent use of your free time, if you ask me. Today, time's up on Beth's TikTok addiction. Will she ever be able to focus on something for longer than 90 seconds? Alice is to done with her to-do list. Will there ever be an end to her chores? And Sabrina is saying yes when she really means no. Does that relate to anyone? Will she ever master the fine art of people-pleasing without sacrificing her sanity? All of your problems solved right after this.
Yeah, sure thing. Hey, you sold that car yet?
Yeah, sold it to Carvana.
Oh, I thought you were selling to that guy.
The guy who wanted to pay me in foreign currency, no interest, over 36 months? Yeah, no. Carvana gave me an offer in minutes, picked it up, and paid me on the spot. It was so convenient.
Just like that.
Yeah?
No hassle.
None.
That is super convenient.
Sell your car to Carvana and swap hassle for convenience. Pickup fees may apply.
Wow.
What's up?
I just bought and financed a car through Carvana in minutes.
You? The person who agonized 4 weeks over whether to paint your walls eggshell or off-white bought and financed a car in minutes?
They made it easy. Transparent terms, customizable down and monthly. Didn't even have to do any paperwork.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Hey, have you checked out that spreadsheet I sent you for our dinner options?
Finance your car with Carvana and experience total control. Financing subject to credit approval.
Hi, Bryony and Matt. I think TikTok has officially ruined my brain. I can barely concentrate on anything for more than a few minutes. If my husband tells me anything, I'll instantly forget it. I don't think that's got anything to do with TikTok. That's probably just relationships. And I'll often find myself upstairs with an intention of getting something and suddenly have no idea what I wanted to begin with. How do I regain my attention span and actually focus on something longer than a TikTok video? Or am I doomed to live my life in 60 seconds bursts forever? Is this too much social scrolling, ADHD, early menopause? What do you think? From Beth.
I instantly like and relate to Beth a lot. I'm not TikTok. My brain is almost too ADHD for TikTok because I just get so confused by it at the start. And I always go into the search box and I'm like searching for things and the things I'm searching for don't come up. And it's like, no, you're searching for that, but really you're going to be interested in this other thing. And it's like, I don't have that specific problem with TikTok, but I have the specific problem of the internet and distraction.
Yeah.
And walking into rooms and not knowing why I'm there and worried it's because my brain is massively rotting, but it's probably just to do with like attention deficit and all of that. And I wish I had a great pithy answer to that because I still have this problem. But I think, I don't know about you, Bryony, but myself, it's when you can find the ability to step away. It's a very short amount of time needed before your brain starts to feel a little bit more ordered.
I think there are some actually quite practical things you can do with this as well, Beth, which I have an app on my phone called Jomo, I think it's called.
Okay.
And I use it when I have to work and when I have to write, because what I find myself doing is I'll sit and I'm like, and I'll be like, I'll get a paragraph done or whatever. And then my brain will go off and then I'll start just check, like I just literally scrolling, not particularly, just checking. Oh, has anyone messaged me? Oh, can I get a little dopamine hit? Oh, to see I've got a few more likes on Instagram.
Yeah.
Or do you know what I mean? Like, or something terrible happened in the news that I can. Anyway, what Jomo does, and I think there's quite a lot of apps out there, so this is not me plugging one particular one that do this, is it just switches off all my apps for a certain amount of time, so I can plug it in and say, for an hour, I will not be able to access this thing on my phone. And that kind of helps for work stuff.
Yes. I'm not great at this, as I've just said, but one thing I do do 90% of the time is I don't actually have my phone by my bed. I have it charging downstairs. I sometimes take the laptop to bed because I sometimes get ideas and want to write things in a Word document, but I don't actually take my phone. And I know that makes me in a minority because I think something like 80% of people charge their phone by the bed. If you can do that, I feel like the first hour of being awake sets the tone for the whole day. So good or bad day. So if I get up without obsessively checking the phone or walk the dog and I'm out, then that is going to be a good day. But the other day where you're sort of like sat in the bathroom staring at the phone for about half an hour and you're just getting a bad neck and you're just, that's going to be a bad day, isn't it?
But I also think there is an interesting thing where we do all get a bit, like you say that thing where you fear that your brain is rotting away. And that I definitely have that, where it's not just that I go into a room and I forget why I'm going into them, but I'll open like an internet page on my laptop or whatever, a Google page, and I'll be like, I forget what it was I was going to open the page for. That's
because we're on a device which is designed to distract us. Instagram and other social media companies have in the past hired psychologists as consultants in terms of how to get people addicted to their products. So that's what we're battling against.
Well, also to remember that, I think, is quite a powerful thing in and of itself, because I think it enables you, like, even just I started and I had a really good point I was going to make, Beth, and then I got distracted by something out of the corner of my eye.
You're on TikTok right now, just under the desk.
I think our brains are not designed to cope with the level of digital overwhelm that we are presented with on a daily basis. Yeah.
And I think, as with all things, it's just about, not being too hard on yourself about it, because this is definitely a universal problem now, isn't it? We're all going through this, and we can talk about it, but none of us are speaking from a high ground on this issue.
Can you watch television and not look at your phone?
I sometimes can. The trouble is, for one thing, I feel it's so interesting, isn't it? Like, I can remember growing up, like, people who watched TV, they were the people they were the ones who were rotting their brain, according to my mum. Oh, they just watch TV all the time. Now, if you can watch an hour of TV without checking anything out, wow, you're like a sort of Buddhist monk in Tibet who just like discovered the key to enlightenment. You can actually watch a complete episode of Young Sheldon without, checking 700 million things.
I couldn't watch any of, like the Scandi crime stuff.
Oh, yes.
Because I was like, obviously I can't speak Swedish. So I either had to learn Swedish or stop scrolling on my phone.
I mean, what's the future going to be? We're going to remember this as the glory years, aren't we? Can you remember when people were worried about TikTok?
Oh,
now we've got this implant in our brain where we're continually and to be actually being able to focus on an external thing in our hand, wasn't that? We used to worry about that.
Oh, that was so traditional. Yeah. How quaint.
Yeah.
Beth, just don't touch your phone try for the first 5 minutes of your day. Don't touch your fucking phone. And then see how you get on. Hi, Bryony and Matt. I swear my to-do list has a life of its own. No matter how many things I check off, it seems to multiply overnight. I start the day with grand plans to be super productive, but somehow the hours disappear and I'm left wondering where the day went. How can I take control of my time and finally conquer my to-do list without feeling like I'm constantly running in circles? And this is from Alice.
Again, Alice, I relate very much to this because I'm especially recently, where I just go through the day and I realise by 6 p.m. I haven't done any writing. It's not like I haven't been working. I've only been a few little answered emails, but nothing that I consider proper working. And then it gets to like 6 p.m. and you get depressed because you think, then I've got all the life stuff to do, making food, walking the dog, bins, all that stuff. And then, I've got no time. But I think part of it with me is actually not realising that a lot of stuff I think is wasting time isn't actually wasting time. So sometimes like even an email might not be, wasting time, or even what you're looking at on the internet might be helping you in some way. So I think we can risk being over hard on ourselves, and it's a product of a sort of consumerist society where we're always encouraged to be earning and to see ourselves as a sort of economic unit that's got to be useful and productive. And again, we're in a world which makes it very hard to do because we've got so many distractions. So yeah, this isn't an answer to the problem, but I'm hoping that you're going to have some wise words.
Matt, as you say, it's a world that wants us to be addicted to earning and doing and stuff. But I also think there is something in the world where we get very used to feeling like we're not doing enough, like we're slightly feckless and useless. Sometimes I realise my subconscious does this, where I will deliberately, without even realising I'm doing this, set myself up to fail because I'm so used to that feeling of feeling like, oh, I haven't done the thing I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Are I fucking useless?
Yes.
And even though you think, well, hang on, why would you set yourself up to feel useless? It's like, actually, even though it's not a very nice feeling, there's a sort of familiarity in it.
Yeah, not to be too heavy about it, but it's like one of those things that if something really major suddenly happens in your life, then instantly, somehow, your brain knows how to prioritise. Yeah. But so often we're almost, just by our flawed design, almost like a hobby of our minds is just to sort of have all these worries and neuroses on a daily level and to beat ourselves up about it. But if it wasn't being worried about this, the brain would be finding something else to be beating ourselves up about, even if the internet and everything else didn't exist. So yeah, I think it's the real issue there behind it is how not to be so hard on ourselves about things.
I also think there's a quick thing about to-do lists is I create to-do lists and I think I'm sort of controlling the world.
Andrea, my partner, has a to-do list of, I think it's reached 200 because she numbers it, and she has done very little of the to-do list, but she loves the to-do list. Almost is slightly doing it in her mind, like when she's
if I put this thing on the to-do list, then I've done it.
I'm kind of like, at least addressing something, but I'm not organised enough even to have a to-do list of things I'm not going to do.
So sometimes you get like a day in a life features in magazines with writers. And
I had one yesterday and it was the worst interview I've ever had in my life.
Really?
It was a bit of a day in the life thing, but where you feel like you've got to make out that you're in the gym with Mark Wahlberg at 3:30 a.m. for 3 hours, or been out for a run with Bryony Gordon.
I watch writers who are very disciplined, or they claim to be disciplined, and they're like, I do 1,000 words before breakfast, and then I'm like, when am I going to become that writer who doesn't?
I don't believe
leave everything until the deadline is sort of like sitting on my shoulders.
I have, in my own work, created a solution to this, which is write shorter books and shorter chapters. Because if you're writing shorter chapters, you can actually have a book that looks book-sized, but it's not really, because a lot of your chapters are just paragraphs.
Well, I think this is a neat thing that you can get away with if you have sold 7,000,000,001 books, as you have, Matt Haig. But I'm not sure that my editor is going to take that.
Well, yeah, but tell your editor that we're in an age of attention deficit and people haven't got the time for like 2-page chapters.
Sentence, and that's the book.
Exactly.
Alice, less is more. Stop making to-do lists, Alice. Just go with the flow. Just go with the flow and accept if it's really important, it'll get done.
Great advice.
What is... Dax, are you?
Tracking all our cars on Carvana Value Tracker on all our devices? Yes, Kristen, yes I am.
Well, I've been looking for my phone for...
In Dax's domain, we see all. So we always know what our cars are worth.
All of them?
All of them. Value surge, trucks up 3.9%.
That's a great offer.
I know. Sell?
Sell.
Track your car's value with Carvana Value Tracker today.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
We've got an email from someone who called Sabrina the Carpenter. Not her real name and not a carpenter and not Sabrina Carpenter. I'd love it.
Oh, yeah. I would be
Sabrina.
able to go home today and tell my teenage daughter that
Imagine if
Sabrina Carpenter's needed advice from Matt and Bryony.
Sabrina, if you're listening and you do have a query, you just have to email lifeofbryony@mailonline.co.uk. Anyway, Sabrina, quote unquote. Okay, weird start to an email, but you know when some guys say they like being...
Wow. You're really setting this up as an amazing email now.
They like being spanked.
Okay,
or
it is an amazing email.
Or having something pinched. Well, I think I derive a similar sadistic pleasure by saying yes to things that I simply do not have any time to do. I'm a serial people pleaser, and I realised this week that it's really at the expense of my rest and relaxation. This week alone, I baked a birthday cake, did a school run. I'm not a parent. Love Sabrina. And fixed a dislodged banister on a staircase. Woodwork is not my strong point. I say yes to everything, even when I know I don't have the time or energy, and then I end up overwhelmed and annoyed at myself for saying yes in the first place. How do I learn to say no without feeling like I'm being a bad daughter, sister, friend and still keep my sanity intact? I'm saying yes to you, Sabrina, as a human.
Yes, that is a genuinely great email. Saying no is important, isn't it? It's important, but I was really bad at it. I used to, say yes to everything work related. If I sensed someone else wanted me to say yes to it, I'd feel like it was completely rude saying it. But then I learned the hard way. I don't know if you said yes to things that ended up being mistakes. And so I think I learned that I had to say no. And actually saying yes to things sometimes can be negative, not just for you, for other people. But and also you have no time for when people really need you if you're spread out so thin.
I mean, I have no hard, fast answers to people pleasing because I think it's at the core of all of my problems in life. Every addiction I've ever experienced, alcoholism, drug addiction, eating disorders, all my problems stem from the need to people please. That I am only...
Out of interest though,
yeah,
because I think I understand that, but in terms of like addiction, how do you relate like your alcohol history to people pleasing?
I think it allowed me to feel like I was putting on a sparkly dress and I was being a vibrant, fascinating person in a way that I naturally, without alcohol, feel quite socially inept. And B, if something had happened in a day and the day had gone wrong, or I thought I'd upset someone, or do you know what I mean? All those things, I would just go and get completely.
Yes, there's a way of dealing with it. Yeah, totally. And I same with me. Like I used to think I was more interesting and funny to people if I was drinking. So I was almost drinking for them, but also drinking to save my own embarrassment and discomfort of being this sort of neurodivergent person, finding it hard to talk and make eye contact with people. Suddenly, if I had alcohol, it was easier to do that. And the saying yes to everything is, I find it really, really hard to the extent that I'm scared of making new friends because it'll be new people that you could potentially disappoint because you have to. So it's easier to keep your WhatsApp, with just a few people in it rather than having a wide pool of friends that I feel I would just be disappointing all the time, because I have actually disappointed people in the past through my own mental health of not being able to do things or not being able to go to the pub or not being able to do that. So I haven't always been a yes person, but I felt being a no person can actually make you feel very guilty for pointless reasons when it's not really your fault at all.
For me, I think saying yes to everything is about fundamentally fear of being rejected by people. If I say something that doesn't please them, they're going to turn away and not want me in their life. And that's a very childlike response. And what I've realised is that if I say no to someone and they turn away and don't want me in their life, then I don't want them in mine.
It's a natural filter.
Exactly.
And also, and you can be a bit more respected and certainly respect yourself more for saying no. And actually, it's like all things. It's not actually that hard once you do it.
I think it's the hardest thing. I've never got good at saying no.
I struggle when it's like family or members, like extended family of they want to do something together as I really struggle with that. I'm much better now at saying no to work-related things, but I suppose I don't feel it's upsetting people in the same way. So yeah, I still have got that problem.
Oh my God, I'm the complete opposite. So I can say no to my family. No, I'm not. No, Mum, I'm not coming for the weekend. No, like people I know, I guess people I know who are there unconditionally for me. I guess I feel much more secure in saying no. But in like a work situation, I'm like, if I say no, will everything fall apart? Will my career tumble and crumble? And maybe that's a kind of freelance kind of mentality, I suppose. Sabrina, the next time someone asks you to do the school run for them, look them in the eye and say, my name is Sabrina and I'm a chronic people pleaser. Do you really need me to do this for you? And they'll probably say yes. The other thing is that someone very dear to me once said is the thing about boundaries, Bryony, is they tend to get burnt into you. And so maybe you just have to get to a level of pain.
Yeah. And saying no is often saying yes. Saying no is saying yes to more time. It's saying yes to yourself. It's saying yes to having boundaries and respecting yourself, isn't it?
Yes, Matt. You can now tick Listen to Friday's Life of Bryony episode off your to-do list. How satisfying. Are you sick yet of me asking you to rate, review and tell a friend that this show exists? My producer says it's staying in the script until this show wins an award or he gets a pay rise. We're a very interactive bunch and we'd love to hear from you. Details of how to get in touch are in the show notes. You can voice note, text or email just to say hi. And I hope you have the best day ever and I'll see you on Monday.